what is that big enough why in your life? What's the one thing or several things or few things that you really want to change at this point, and why? Why do you want to do it? Because the days when you don't feel like putting in the practices to get to the next hump in your life, you got to be able to draw on something that has a strong enough pull on your heart and your core and your energy to do it anyway.
How I love to vibe when I'm vibing with you. How I love to vibe when the vibing is true. How I love to vibe when I'm vibing with you. We're vibing, we're vibing, we're vibing, we're vibing. It's Mike and Cass vibing out.
What up, what up?
Hello. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you, beautiful spirit?
Good. Hello, beautiful spirit. Thankful to be alive on this day.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day.
Yes. As always, this is Mike.
I'm Cass. This is
Mike and Cass vibing out. Thank you for joining us wherever you may be on this planet or whenever you may see it. Just realize we're always connected. We're always here to help you reach the highest and best version of yourself, to be always holding that space of unconditional love, always here rooting for you to live your best life. So don't just hear us, make sure you stay in contact with us, reach out. How can they do that, Cass?
You can basically just comment on anything that we have wherever you're watching this or listening. Go ahead, comment, DM us on Instagram, MK Vibing Out, TikTok, MK Vibing Out, YouTube. You can email us, and then we post full episodes on wherever you're watching this every Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific time. And then we post some short, fun stuff on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all that good stuff. So check us out on there to get up to date, things that we're doing, and super excited for you to be here today.
Yeah.
Today's episode is about reaching that, what did we name it? I always forget.
Breaking through.
I always forget.
Breaking through.
I was like, I know it's about leveling up, but I don't know the title that we just confirmed.
Breaking through. Become the next best version of yourself.
Yeah.
Your next best, greatest yet to be. I'm excited about it. We're all in the process of doing that. And if you're joining us, obviously, you have that within you, that mind growth of being wanting to be the best version of yourself to live your best life. So we're going to just be honest about the things we've gone through, some of our challenges, and also give you some tools. And before we get started, I think this is also an opportunity, when this does actually play, to do another 30-day challenge, with breaking through, that we do with our folks out there. And we'll come up with also some ways for us to stay better connected. And then
what could we do for like a fun challenge?
Yeah.
That would be cool. And if you guys have ideas, even if by the time we put this out, we'll have probably thought of something. But if y'all have ideas about what you want to see like upcoming, let us know, because that'd be cool to do just more interactive stuff, more things where we can grow together. But I don't know, we could do like first thing that comes to mind is almost like a habit challenge or something, like picking one thing.
I think a lot of it will actually come out from this episode.
Yeah,
like the tools that we give people, put them down on the list, how many things you're good with. Journaling is going to be a huge part of that 30 days, to, track your progress. And then just setting up tangible goals for yourself. We all have different things that we're working on at different times. So depending on the individual, like them just setting a few things that they want to work on. But just to get into it, I think most of us can agree.
Let's take some deep breaths first.
Yes. Thank you for stopping me out. Before we get started,
Of course.
we always want to make sure we get recentered, centered into this moment, giving yourself permission to be fully here, fully present, opening up your mind and your heart. So if you're going to join us in a few slow, deep breaths. Obviously, if you're driving, do not close your eyes. But if you can still join us with the deep breaths, it'll still have a beautiful calming effect. But if you're at home or anywhere where you can close your eyes safely, join us now and start by taking a slow, deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth, in through your nose, out through your mouth. One more time, in through your nose and hold it, sustain the breath. setting a beautiful intention for yourself, whether it's for more love, more peace, more joy, or all of the above. And exhale and release. Notice how you feel. Always, every time I do this, and like I said, there's plenty of times before, even amongst, like doing this with 800 people, I notice the energy in the room be more calm, and I feel more calm and centered myself. And
It's
so
crazy.
hopefully you feel that. And once again, I'm gonna repeat this every time we have episodes. So if you've been with us for a while, bear with me, and hopefully you've already made it a habit to set alarms for yourself, just to stop throughout the day and check in with yourself. We start to gain, through our conditioning, so much underlying tension and stress from things that are going on within the day. Also just through our thinking and our thoughts that don't serve us. So it's always good to stop, take a few breaths, and check in and start again. You know, it's such a beautiful thing. So let's get into it. Breaking through to that next best version of yourself. I think a great place to start is why. Like, in order to become or change anything in your life and change your paradigm, you gotta have a mighty why.
Yeah.
You know? And it varies depending on what's going on in our lives. Sometimes it's because, you know, whether we might we get sick and tired of being tired. We get to the point where the things that we do and things we do on a day-to-day basis no longer serving us. Sometimes, you know, it's for our children, if you have children. Sometimes it's for a family member. I know for me personally, it's usually a combination of things. At this point, I've been on this journey for quite a while, and I've seen the benefits of certain practices. So, like, which makes me excited just to keep up leveling, you know, period.
I was gonna say sometimes it's even just a little bit of a stagnicity, like you just feel an energy of like something's got to change, and it doesn't even have to be like, sometimes it's a wake-up call, kind of a more negative thing that happens. Maybe you get like a health scare, and so that makes you go into more physical activity and eating good or whatever. But sometimes it's just like, okay, something, I've been doing the same thing, you know, for a while, and I just feel like I need to change a little bit. So it doesn't have to be a huge thing, but the only constant is change. You see in nature that everything is constantly changing, and so we're supposed to be constantly changing. If we're not, we don't feel our best. And so I feel like always we're up leveling, even if it's not in the way we may think of, like a big up level, like being a completely new version of yourself. It could just be, you know, being a little bit different or more motivated, more courageous, more whatever, you know?
That's a great point. Nothing is stagnicity. You're always going forward or backwards. So just even being conscious of that and like accepting that fact, you know, can be a good motivation to always be conscious of moving forward in different areas of your life. And, you know, for me personally, it's having a big enough why, you know, to move forward. So what is that for you? You know, what is that big enough why in your life? What's the one thing or several things or few things that you really want to change at this point? And why? Why do you want to do it? Because the days when you don't feel like putting in the practices to get to the next hump in your life, you got to be able to draw on something that has a strong enough pull on your heart and your core and your energy to do it anyway. You know, so what is that for you? Take a little bit of time to think about it and realize that you're worth it. You know, one thing that came up is like in this life, we're meant to be like passionate about our lives. Every day, you know, more times than not, we're all meant to like have a passion for life and living. And if you don't have that, you know, it's nothing to beat yourself up about, but to observe why not. And for me, that's enough to like want to change certain things habitually in my life, you know, so I have that childlike, wake up like it's Christmas and be passionate about the day, you know, in your life, you know, which goes, you know, to a lot of things, you know, within that. And so I wasn't thinking about this beforehand, but if for some reason, like in your occupation, or you're not doing the things in life that you're actually passionate about, the things that bring you joy, that allow you to express your unique talents and gifts on this planet. That's one thing, to be working through to become the next best version of yourself. I was thinking more in terms, which is this is a part of it, mind, body, and spirit. Like it's impossible.
Like the practices.
Yes,
and stuff.
exactly.
Yeah.
Within that, like, there's nothing, we can't leave any of those out, right? So the little things we can do for our physical, our mental, and our spiritual, which we're going to be going through some of the great things to do. We know that that's crucial, and to moving forward to break through. But within that, even that is that you have a mighty purpose on this earth.
Yeah.
So maybe part of like your breaking through is starting to work on things that you actually really love to do, that that you, maybe a dream that you had that you think is too late or expired, or things you were passionate about as a kid that you've told yourself that, oh, I'm an adult now, I can't do that.
Yeah, I would say that's more of a, like, there's mind, body, spirit, and that's almost like a creativity part of our mind. Even if you're not doing something within like the art field or like whatever, I feel like it's, that passion comes from our creative brain, like that part of our brain and mind and stuff. So I would say, I don't know, would you say that too, kind of?
It could be, yeah, for sure. Like, for sure, I think that's that could be a whole podcast.
Yeah.
Like when we think about creativity, a lot of times we think about the arts, like art. But in reality, everything, when it's like you're a genius, you're creative. Like you have creativity in math and science.
A thought is creative if it's your own.
And creativity is involved in everything. I was thinking more so like in the lines of like a person's purpose, which goes along with whatever they love doing in life. That being a part of the next version of themselves.
Yeah.
So like if you're not already doing something that brings joy to your life on a day-to-day basis, what are those things that you really love to do? Whether it's a hobby or whether it's a hobby that becomes like your next profession, as a part of breaking through to the next version of yourself.
Right.
Because that's such in my opinion, a huge part of it.
That's true. And I think like asking yourself, that next level version of you, what does that look like? Like, what qualities does that person have? And maybe, a lot of us, we want to work on a lot of different things. We want to be, the best in all different aspects. And that's great. And we can get there and we can improve on all that stuff. But sometimes it's like we got to take one step at a time. We have to maybe be focusing on one or two things at a certain time and leveling those up and then getting some other stuff in. And so I would say even to focus on like what in your life makes you already feel those qualities when you go and do them. So what makes you feel, if you're wanting to be more courageous, what makes you feel already that way when you go do it? Like, when was the last time you felt courageous? And then, that's a little bit of a hard one, but tying that into something you could do on a daily basis, making it a habit. Or like for me, like I ask myself a lot of the time, what makes me feel actual just peace? And to me, a couple different things do that, but like being out in nature, taking walks, like that makes me feel at peace. I just feel really, really good when I do that. And so that specifically isn't probably gonna become a huge like career path for me and a profession and all this stuff. And I think we think of that sometimes when we think of leveling up, getting to a next version of ourselves, is we only have that sort of hustle culture mindset going on where it's like this has to be career and financial like success. And that can be a big part of it if that's the season you're in to bring that about, because that's awesome. But it also doesn't have to be that. It could be other feelings that you want to have.
That's a great point. So just to clarify, we mean about you living a more fulfilled, happy life, and walking through life as more of a light on this earth, which encompasses all those things, doing things that you like, being healthy in mind and body and spirit. But just to kind of break down and like start getting to giving our folks like a step-by-step process. So we start with the why, Why don't you take us through, and then I'll, take through a version of like, what is your version of like when you want to make a change in your life? What are the steps that you take?
I think, doing like a why and like really what that looks like you have to get a little bit of an idea. I definitely struggle with being specific about things. A lot of the times my way of thinking and just processing stuff is very general. Like I just want to feel more ease. I just want to feel more clarity. And I go with like feelings rather than like tangible things most of the time. But then sometimes it's like an actual goal or something. And then for me, I just, I ask myself like, what would the person that feels that way, that has that thing, that, whatever, what would they be feeling on a regular basis? And we've all kind of had almost all the feelings that we can experience, even in like a slight degree. We've all felt all these types of ways. So it's like we talked about this in our reflection episode. I think that was the first episode of season 2. We talked about going back to past events, past things that we've done, to kind of take those feelings and add them into our life now, because now we have some kind of context to go off of, like, oh, I felt really joyful during this situation, so I technically don't feel joyful now, but how about I bring those feelings from the past back to me, because I know I can experience them because I've done it before. And so that can be a real good way to get into that mindset, even going back to those circumstances, replaying them in your mind and feeling those feelings, because our brain doesn't know the difference between what's happening now and what's happening in our mind, because we're experiencing it physiologically. So and then to make it even more powerful, once you kind of have that feeling down, or it's something you can kind of just feel a little more easily, then you can even go to a future circumstance that hasn't technically happened yet, replay that in your mind, and that's how you manifest it. But for a couple like tangible things, that's just how I feel that it works and how I think about it and stuff. But for tangible things, for me, I listen to affirmations and music with the energy that I want to bring in. Those are my top 2 things. Yes, I sometimes do meditations where I manifest certain things or feelings, meditation for inner peace, meditation to ease anxiety, all that kind of stuff. Sometimes I do that, but my go-tos that I would recommend for anyone: affirmations, listen to 5 minutes in the morning while you're getting ready or during your meditation practice, and then music. Anytime I want to manifest something specific or up level in a certain way, I'm like, okay, what music makes me feel like that version of me? Like, what makes me feel successful? And sometimes I put myself in a situation where I'm like, what would I be listening to when I have that life, and I am that person? What kind of music would I be listening to? And it really depends on what I'm manifesting at that time. Like, I tend to listen to more, like, I don't know what you call it, I guess like more indie sort of music if I'm trying to be more spiritual. And you don't have to do that, right? But if I'm trying to go in tune with my own spiritual self, that makes me feel that way. Or affirmation music. When I want to manifest more money and like career stuff, I listen to things that like music that talks about money and success and fame and like that kind of stuff. So that would be my tangible like action step. And I don't have a step-by-step process, but that's kind of
that's great. That's definitely useful. I think that would be actually a great step too, just for our folks. Like, everything we obviously free flow, so whatever comes through us. It's not like a well planned out. That's what I love about our podcast. It's not like preordinated. It's like us having a conversation and you being there right with us live. It's nothing's pre-orchestrated. So within that, I think that's a great step too. For me, it's you got to have the why, and then 2, the visualization. Is next. I think that's huge, and picturing like, what is that person look like? What's that version of self? How do they look? How do they navigate through life? what are the qualities of your next yet to be that make you feel proud, and then filling into that also can often, when you fill into it, you'll get answers of the steps of what that person would be doing. That person wakes up at 5 o'clock in the morning every day, no matter what. That person has a routine of meditating, when they first get up in the morning. They have an exercise, routine. They practice their gratitude. Like you'll notice, like a lot of times when you get into the feeling of that person, the steps of the things that you need to be that person, the universe will bless you, with a lot of those actions to do that. So within that, just as a version of that, every day visualizing, getting into the energy of feeling that person and feeling into that person, I think is important. Hey fam, hopefully you're enjoying the episode. This is Mike.
This is Cass.
This is Mike and Cass.
Vibing out.
Hey, wanted to remind you to join our email list for everything we have going to stay up to date. What else, Cass?
For our programs, and make sure to check out our website, mkvibingout.com, for our merch. It's some fun stuff on there. You can rep us everywhere you go.
Go get it.
Join us there, and please continue loving our episode and enjoy.
Yes. And then number 3, for me, is those tangible steps, within whatever it looks like, if it's for I like to do all 3 and be working, at least touching for that. Like certain times, like physical fitness might be at the front, of it. So it might be physical, might be, 60%. The mental is always a part of it, might be, 20%, and another 20 might be the spiritual, like all the practices. So wherever with you, like what is the thing you think needs to be the most, what's that one goal you have? And like kind of having a percentage of those things. But I want to just act all 3 are important. So just tangible tools, like we've always talked about, meditation practice, and having that a part of, you get clarity, and also of what the steps to get to your goal, whether it's a money goal, whether it's an occupation goal, whether it's a relationship goal, whatever it is, when you take time just to be quiet and giving the universe time to actually talk to you, you get clarity. So like even just 2 to 5 minutes every day, starting out meditation. Number 2, practicing gratitude no matter what. We're about to lose our son. If it happens, it happens. That'll be part of the bloopers. But number 2, like we've talked about this before, gratitude list, practicing gratitude every day. That's when you huge. Get up, and not just since you practicing gratitude for the person you're about to be. I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm so courageous and I'm ridiculously fit. I'm so happy and grateful that I'm a light on this earth at this point.
Yeah, I want to add to that too, because I was thinking when you were talking, one thing I had been doing for a while when I was journaling in the morning is saying I am blank because, so I'd pick like a trait that I want to have or like a thing I want to have. So one of the things I was working on like a couple weeks ago was I wanted to feel like I was someone who's hardworking, because that was a trait I felt like I've put in effort for things, but I wanted to actually feel like a hard worker. So I would write down I'm hardworking because, and then write down any little bit of evidence that I had in my life to say that I'm a hard worker. So of course there would be bigger things in the future that I would have maybe accomplished that would confirm that, but I would do little tiny things like, oh, I did a few more dishes than I was gonna do originally, so I went above and beyond, right? And I would just write down once a day something. So pick the trait that you have that you want to have more of, and realize you already have it. Yeah. It just may not be to the level, the extent you want it, but write down all the evidence you have and then go through that list every day.
That's awesome. And that can also lend into like your why. Like when you said that, it made me start thinking about I'm hardworking because. You can also use that like I'm hardworking because I want to provide a better life for
I like that.
my family. I'm hardworking because I want to make my parents proud. I'm hardworking because I know everything I do today is going to lead to my ultimate goals, no matter what it is. Like that can be a great reason to add to the why.
So like how and why. How you're hardworking, why you're hardworking.
Exactly. I love that. I love that. And so tapping into that gratitude list in the morning, just to reiterate real quick, having your why Number two, visualizing, getting into the feeling of who is that person, what are those qualities, how they look like, how do they feel like, how do they navigate through life. 2 to 5 minutes of just starting out meditation. Eventually you want to get up to 20, but if you don't have a meditation practice, just starting 2 to 5 minutes is a great place to start, to allow the universe to talk to you, and it'll let you know the steps you need to take. Number three, that gratitude, practicing that gratitude every morning from the place of being that person. I'm so happy and grateful that now I'm strong and courageous. I'm happy and grateful that I'm more fit than I've ever been in my life.
And be excited. Like, it's cool to think, oh, that's going to be me, like, very soon, and it could be today. It is you, yeah. And a lot of times we're so in the mindset of, I need to get somewhere. We're working towards something. And even though technically that could be true at the moment, when we set the goals in stone, we're, okay, I'm going to work towards this. But now that you've set it in stone, okay, that can be you right now. And, so be excited for it. Like, I know I've gotten in the trap of feeling worried. I'm like, am I really going to reach this? Am I going to do this? And that really just holds you back. And it's something I still struggle with. But, it's really, really benefited me, like, very quickly, the times where I've just been like, okay, I'm that person already. All right. And I start, like, becoming that energy. And then things happen. It's crazy.
Let me tell you something. If you have a desire for something that's so part of the river, and it's going to take a while for this to actually permeate your subconscious, but if you have a desire for anything and a version specifically to you, it's because you are that. Like, that version of yourself already exists. It's just a matter of you lining up with the frequency of that. So just know that already is you. Otherwise, you wouldn't have the desire to be that. That's a part of your makeup. You already have it inside you. It's just bringing it to life, so being excited, and then but having the why within that will also help to deter if there's days where you're not excited, or you don't feel as courageous, or you don't know if you can do it. Having that why. And so next step after that, to me, is writing down 5 little things within that you would do every day or on the weekly to start moving towards that. And it can be very slight. We talked about like I've talked about this, like, just touch it rule. Having those things that are just tangible. If you haven't exercised before, maybe it's doing 5 push-ups a day, just some form of exercise. The meditation, I want to be a more mindful person. So pick out 5 things in your life, and this will come to you through your meditation. What are 5 things you can do to start moving towards the next version of yourself on the daily and weekly version? And it can be very small things, but if you do those things consistently, 2 things will happen. You're energetically be in alignment and integrity with yourself, and then secondarily, you'll have more ideas of the things to do to actually push you and get you over that hump, just by you taking those consistent actions. I love checking things off.
And we all do. Our brains love that.
I love that makes me feel productive. So it doesn't have to be major things. And anytime you want to even accomplish something major, it's accomplished through a whole bunch of small steps to get to that major thing, and all of a sudden you're there. It's never going from here to there. So write down 5 things you can do that you can hold yourself accountable for and be in integrity with to move forward. And then after that, a great thing is to have an accountability buddy. If you don't have one, we'll do our best to be that for you. But find somebody else in your life, whether it be your partner in life, a best friend, a family member, whoever, that will hold you accountable for those things that you want to be in. Maybe they'll join you in the journey, and you can be the accountability for them getting better. It's so much
it's fun
easier
to do that with people.
God.
And then if for some reason you don't feel that you have someone that can be that for you at the moment, then even different apps are out there that like send you a notification that you haven't done something, or they put the percentage of things you've checked off that day, or making an actual just physical list for yourself, seeing what you haven't checked off can make you feel like, oh, I should do that tomorrow. And and like you were saying, not that it just can be little things. I would go as far to say it should be little things. Like, you should force yourself to do even not as much as you think you can. Going back to the meditation practice, maybe you're thinking, I've meditated a little bit here and there, so I could do a 10-minute meditation every day. That's no biggie. But if you're just starting out consistently, commit to 2 minutes. If you end up doing 10 most days, awesome. You feel even better about yourself and better about your practices. But a lot of the times what holds us back from being consistent with habits, this happens to me all the time because I'm an overachiever with things and I need to work on this, but is just we set too big of the little goals. You should have an idea, a vision of where you want to be and how to get there, but we try to do way too much too fast. And we forget that, like, if we set small goals, we can still do more. We just tell ourselves, give ourselves credit for the little things, and that gives us momentum to go forward. Because if you only do 5 minutes of meditation every day, but you committed to 10, you still did 5 minutes of meditation. That's awesome, but you're not going to feel like you did anything, and you're not going to be able to check it off your list.
Absolutely.
So it's going to feel like a downer for your brain, and that's not fun.
Yep, definitely. That's such a great point. Just putting yourself in position to be successful. But I think that, I know that those things, if you apply all these things and tools, you absolutely, if you do that even for 30 days, when we see this, we'll figure out the challenge, but we outline some of the steps. You can write them down, take the time to re-listen to this podcast, because it goes, if it's not a habit already, a lot of times goes in the ear, out the ear. So rewind it, take time to write down each one of the steps that we've outlined, and make that little checklist for yourself. I promise you, if you do these things and you do them consistently, I guarantee in 30 days, you will be well on your way. You will be a next version of yourself. Like, you will be different after that 30 days, guaranteed. And once you check that off and accomplish that, your vision for your life will only expand. You'll get used to feeling good and feeling better and feeling successful in who you are, which will give you more confidence to accomplish even larger things, and realizing ultimately that you're an unlimited being, and we all want to get to that point where we know that within ourselves, not just as a logical fact that we can accept, but subconsciously really knowing that we're unlimited and anything is possible for your life.
We're excited for you.
Yes,
that's awesome. And then I did want to end, if you're up for it, just like in kind of real time, like having something where we're both working on, like, what does your, next version of yourself, even a small part of it, what does that look like? And how would you break down those steps for yourself right now? Like, even just 1-2 things you could do to.
Right on. So all these things, are things that I practice. So within me, the next version of myself is enjoying the journey more. So for me, I'm very ambitious, goal oriented. I'm used to taking like massive leaps of faith in my life, and I end up usually getting there, but within that leap of faith, there's usually a good amount of stress, worry, doubt within that, because you're going into the unknown. So at this juncture, with all the unknown, as I take these next leaps of faith in the unknown, I just want to enjoy the journey more. So within that, that requires a certain amount of surrender and getting out of the way of the universe, which is all the practices that I mentioned to you guys before, like doing those things once again. My why is because I believe we're meant to have an amazing life, that we're meant to enjoy every day, that we're meant to wake up just being passionate about our life itself and being grateful for the life that is, and so, within that, me envisioning, feeling joyful no matter what, anything that comes up, knowing that I'm more than courageous, more than good enough to do that, knowing that it's already all good. I'm already over the hump. I already made it. So there's nothing to worry about because I've already made it. I'm so happy and grateful for that I've already made it, that my dreams have come true right now, today, that I'm living in the place I want to live. I'm surrounded and able to share and be generous on a level that beyond my wildest dreams with my family and friends, within that, and physically, taking the walks, getting the exercise in, because, when I'm explosive in movement, I feel a force within me that ignites the champion within myself, connecting with spirit every day, knowing that infinite power and source is with me all the time, is here and igniting that, and it gives me immediate freedom in my life. So those are the things we're working towards next, and those are some of the tangible practices that I'll be utilizing to get there.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that for you. And then I guess for me, again, for me, it's just like a general idea of something that makes me sort of motivated. And it's just, I guess, like feeling more clarity, and not necessarily in the way of like figuring things out better or something, but just feeling like I have a clear mind. Because whenever I feel that way, it's just like easy. And like, even if I have a ton of shit on my to-do list, it doesn't even faze me because I'm like, I got this, it's okay. And it's sort of also a level of trusting myself, which I struggle with a lot, or I should say used to struggle with a lot. And so for me, I've already been kind of implementing practices to help myself with that. But just for a reminder, I've been working out outside of my job, which I do. If you guys have, listened to past episodes, like I do fitness training and stuff. And so I'm working out for a good amount of the day, but it's not just for me, it's like for others, and I'm having to coach people through it and stuff. And so I realized how important it is to get my own physical workouts in. So that's one thing. I've been getting back in the gym, which makes me excited too, and I want to see progress with that. And that just obviously helps everything mental too, to like get you in that clear state of mind, because you let off that steam, you let off any energy that's stagnant, you move things around. And then having more moments of silence within my own mind. So for me, that's two different things I've been doing. So meditation. Even this morning, I didn't have that much time to meditate. But I didn't make an excuse. I just took 15 deep breaths, and that was my meditation. And then I've been going on walks 3 times a week. So you want to make these things tangible too, of like how many times a week, how many times a day, how long, where you're going to do it, when you're going to do it, all of those things. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, at the least, I go on a walk, and I don't listen to anything while I'm walking. So that is what I'm doing to reach that level of clarity that I would like, because the days I do those things, I have noticed I'm more clear-minded. I have more trust in myself. I feel like I can conquer the challenges that life throws my way. I end up becoming happier, being more lucky with things, and it's a good way to start my day too, because I usually do it in the morning, all this stuff. So that's what I'm working on, but I'm very excited for both of us and for all of you guys.
Yes, and I mean, that just proves, I'm glad you brought that up. We're in this together. We're all on this journey together. So any way we can support you, we're here for you, and realize that we are rooting for you in every aspect of your life. Once again, please take the time to write down the tools that we've given you today, so they're tangible. You're not going to remember them all just from listening to once, and listen back to the episode several times for the things that resonate with you, and take time to really write them down and put it into action. It's all about that practice, baby.
And share this with someone who could use this information too, all this advice, and maybe your accountability buddy, so you guys are both on the same page. Share this episode with someone you think would benefit from hearing it, so we can all grow together.
Right on. Well, until next time, I'm Mike.
I'm Cass.
This is Mike and Cass.
Vibing out.
Much love.
Thank you, guys.
Peace.
Bye.